all, thank you very much for the Law College and this university for inviting me to speak to you all. I'm honored and delighted to be here and to speak to you on the matters of law, international law, human rights, or whatnot. We'll have some conversation. We'll learn from each other. I'll learn from you, and I'll try to share my experience with you too. And dignitaries, all the professors, thank you very much for your warm welcome. All the professors here. And I would like to particularly thank Professor Saralai Munchu, who, when I was in the United States, even before I came to India, he asked me, Professor, if you are coming to Chennai, please come to my law school. And I'm here now. And why I'm here in India, in Chennai, the thanks are due to Professor Balaji. And Professor Balaji and I, we have been very good friends, not only colleagues, but very good friends, very close friends. I have learned a great deal from Professor Balaji. Thank you very much, Professor Balaji. I have been honored every time with Professor Balaji's company, his enlightened conversation. Thank you very much, Professor Balaji. And all of you that you have been here today to share your experience and to receive my experience here. I really thank you, and I'm honored that I'm in front of you. Thank you very much. So if I will say, I may not pronounce very well, Nandri. Wanakam. Is that right? Yes. Is that right? Yes. Wanakam. So let us start now. Let's get to the business, right? So, Professor Balaji, before me, some of the parts I did not yet understand. I missed that because of my language, Tamil language. But what I learned and understood from his other things, he said absolutely right. Let me tell you one thing. Myself, let me tell you about myself, okay? First, as well, Professor Balaji has even started that, now let me introduce myself. I'm not that person what Professor Madam has introduced me. I don't know whether I deserve that. Yes, I have done those things. I have been to that places and that kind of things I've done. I'm very fortunate enough, but I'm less than that. I don't deserve to be that.
No, sir, you deserve.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to tell you is, I am a person from village in Nepal, mountain village, rural village in mountain Nepal, mountainous guy. And I went to school in my village until my 8th grade, taking care of water bottles, studying only Sanskrit. No Nepali, no English, just Sanskrit. Taking care of water buffaloes, no flip-flops, no shoes, no sandals, barefoot, go to school on foot. And there were mats in the class that we would sit down there with the cross legs, and only one chair for the teacher. That's how I did. Do you understand me? Everybody? Okay. This is particularly, I'm telling you that, because that very simple person from village, taking care of water buffaloes, and coming to Kathmandu later on, and going to school, and there was not English school either, just a simple school in Nepal, in Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal. So I went there for 9th grade. finished my school living certificate +2 and then law degree, master's degree in political science, basic law degree. I practiced law, joined a law firm and practiced law a little bit under a senior attorney. And then I went to Delhi University, did my LLM, 2-year LLM program from the University of Delhi, India. And I don't know whether you have heard the name of 2 professors who I have been very fortunate to be a student of in Delhi. One was Professor P.K. Tripathi, very well-known constitutional law professor in India. Supreme Court of India has made his writings reference in their decisions. That's how well-known professor. He was my professor. And another professor is Professor Upendra Bakshi. Very, very well-known professor too of India. He's not only well-known in India, but he's well-known all over the world. And he was professor at Warwick University in England. And he happened to be in Delhi University that time when I was a student. And I am very fortunate that I was a student. So when I studied this LLM, I ranked top, number 1. And are you familiar with the S.D. Sharma, Shankar Dayal Sharma? The former president of India. He was the vice president when I was doing my LLM. So any vice president of India is ex-officio chancellor of Delhi University. Do you understand me? Ex-officio chancellor of Delhi University. When I ran first in my LLM in Delhi University, then S.D. Sharma, Vice President then, Shankar Dayal Sharma awarded me with gold medal. I just wanted to tell you, I'm not telling about what I did, it's what is possible in one's life. That is what I'm trying to tell you. And after that I went back to Nepal. I was looking for a job, I couldn't get a job. I wanted to be in academia, I wanted to teach, I was practicing law also. I didn't get a job, but somehow I got a job by the United Nations. So I became consultant to the United Nations Development Program in Nepal. So all of a sudden, I had all the facilities, of the diplomatic facilities that I had in Nepal. And then university offered me jobs after that. And I started teaching, practicing law back in Kathmandu. And then in 1991, I was offered a fellowship to do my LLM program in the United States. I was busy with my few cases and other responsibilities, but after 4 years, I didn't want to go to the United States. But ultimately, I went there after 4 or 5 years. I accepted a position and then went there, did my LLM again, and SJD. Are you familiar with the term SJD? SJD. Everybody knows PhD, right? Yes. In the United States, if the PhD for law is called SJD. So that means Doctorate of Juridical Science. Doctorate of Juridical Science. So I did my LLM again and did my SJD, that the PhD, that is Doctorate of Juridical Science. And then before even my SJD was done, I was almost ready to defend my thesis. Then American government offered me a job. The US federal government, American federal government offered me a job and asked me if I would join them as a senior attorney for the Department of Interior of the United States of America. I asked my parents back in Nepal, if this is the offer I have received, may I join? My father said, sure, if this will be, there will be great experience, do it. So I became a government attorney, American government attorney. And then for 5-6 years I worked, and that time President Bush, George W. Bush, so he was the president when I was working for the government, US government. So there was some policy disagreement between me and President. So I resigned from the job. from the job I desired. And then later on, I joined academia. Since then, I have been teaching in the United States. It's been almost 19 years I have been teaching there. So this is why I'm saying to you this. This is only one purpose that I'm telling you, as Professor Balaji said. There is no limit to the opportunities if you work hard. But working hard alone is not enough. I'll tell you one thing. You have to work hard. There is no question on that one. There is no compromise on that one. But working hard alone is not enough. You have to be nice, positive, humble, and respectful. You have to be a good man, or a good person, good man, or good man. Working hard alone is not enough. There are so many people in the world that are very smart people, but they can be jerk. They can be bad. All intelligent and hardworking people are not necessarily good. You have to be good. You work hard and be good. That's it. Once you do that, then opportunities will come to your door and knock your door. Please let me in. That's how opportunities. Remember one thing. You have to work hard. There is no compromise. But working hard alone is not enough. You have to be good, simple, humble, and respectful. Did you get my point? Yes. Please do. If you want to help me, do you want to help me? I need your help. All of you. Yes, tell me. Yes, if you tell me, you have to help me. Don't say me if you are not ready to help me.
We are ready, sir.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Then work hard and be a good man.
Sure, sir.
That's the help you can do to me. Okay?
Yes, sure,
okay, now we are there. We have a deal. Okay, that is good. Now after that, so this is how it happened. Now I teach constitutional law in the United States, administrative law, international law, human rights, and I can teach anything. Now I can, being a senior law professor in the United States is a luxury. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. I'm not kidding. It's a luxury for me. It's a luxury for white American people too, not only for me. It's a luxury. Professor Balaji has graciously agreed and has visited my university law school. He has spoken to the conference, international conference that was conducted by my law school in the United States, and Professor Balaji has been there. It's a great luxury there. One professor, being a law professor, I have 3 secretaries. What do I do with them? 3 research assistants. When I tell my secretary I need this, I don't have to do anything. My job is just to write, read, write, speak, and teach. That's it. Nothing else. Research. Teaching, researching, and speaking. Done. The university, the administration will take care of everything. My secretaries will take care of things. My research assistants will take care of things. It's a luxury. What I'm saying is now, a person who studied Sanskrit, and another thing, I'll tell you one thing. I have never gone to any formal school to learn English. It's self-taught. Self-taught. Why I'm telling you, if you are here in school, it is not a big city in India. Like this is not a big city in India. Can I say that? Or no? Am I wrong or no?
No, sir.
It's not Chennai. It's not Mumbai. It's not Delhi. It's not Bangalore. It's not Kolkata. It's not a big city. You may graduate from here later on, and you may have to deal with other graduates and other attorneys, other academics in their profession from big schools, big universities. But graduates from those schools. But never think, if you have worked hard and have been good person, never think that you are inferior to anybody. That is the point I'm trying to make. I have never felt myself that I was inferior to anybody. Being a person from a rural part of Nepal, taking care of water buffaloes and getting to that point. I never felt that way. But only one thing that helped me is working hard, being nice, rude, and respectful. Simple. That is the one thing. Now, this is what I wanted to a little bit inspire you, motivate you. And you all have given me word. You have promised me. We have a deal. You will help me by working hard and being nice, wonderful person. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have it. Let's get to the subject matter. Human rights. International law. International law and human rights. May I ask you a question? What is the, are you LLB students?
Yes,
First
sir.
year.
First year LLB students. So what are the things you have learned until now? Tell me. Someone can represent and tell me.
Secretary, we are learning the basics of law of thoughts and also the basics of economics, sociology, and also political science.
Okay. Law, basics of law,
Law.
basics of economics, basics of sociology, basics of political science. Please, thank you very much. Thank you. So now, here is the thing now. What is basics of law? Now, let's forget about international agreements. We'll get to that point. This is very important point, basics of law. What are the things that we need to know in the basics of law? So Professor Balaji has mentioned that well when he spoke. Law is nothing but just a tip of iceberg. That underneath other social rubrics or dynamics, other social factors are always active. Does that make sense what I said to you? Do you understand that? Did you or no? Yes, no? I didn't hear. Yes, no.
Say louder.
Not really. Does that means you didn't say yes means not? We got some sense, but not really. Is that the answer? Okay. So okay, let me rephrase that. You know the tip of iceberg, right? So tip of iceberg. The law is just a tip of iceberg. What does that mean? Means underneath in the ocean, the iceberg is there, tip of ice. And underneath ocean is a vast thing, other things going on. You just see the tip of iceberg, like an ice. So law is like that. Law is just a tip of iceberg. Underneath, there are economic rubrics, economic factors, sociological factors, social factors, cultural aspects, political aspects, economic aspects, sometimes religious aspects, lots of things, whatever we have in the society. If there is a hospital, a doctor has checked up everything but gave wrong medicine. Is doctor going to be responsible? Is the hospital going to be responsible? Who is going to be responsible for the medical practices? Isn't that right? Someone has to be responsible. They are all here. All these things, economists, sociologists, medical doctors, engineers, political scientists, politicians, everybody is there. Lawyers, judges, courts, everybody is there to help serve people. There is a reason for all these things in the system. So the law, the basics of law is make society in such a way that keeps the society in order, number one. Number two, once the law is there, the law will define what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong. what is crime and what is not crime. Law defines that. If law defines this particular thing is crime, that is crime. If law doesn't define any act that is not crime, that is not crime. Done. Crime is nothing but the definition, the defined concept, conceptual action defined by law. That's what crime is. Same thing, rights. We have rights. I have right to speak. I have right to say my thing's opinion. Because law gives you that. That's a natural law school theory also. But here, what we are doing, someone has to, some law, some authority has to come up with that law to guarantee your rights. If your rights are violated, then the state apparatuses, means the state governments are there, the police, the prosecutors, are the court, all these things are there to protect your rights and enforce your rights. Isn't that right? So the law defines right. So that is the basics of law. But in order to understand the law, you have to understand, as we are doing rightly so, the basics of economics. There is a supply and demand, right? Supply and demand. So there is the production is there. If the things are being produced and that for the consumption purpose, if the produced goods are not hygienic and the people have consumed that and people become sick, the law has to protect that. Right? Isn't that right? Taxation, you pay tax. This is the very basics of economy. Tax is a basic tool in every country's economy. But what is the basic tool? The tax is a tool to achieve economic and social justice. See? Law and economics. Why? How does that do? Because the tax structure is such that if we have this and this income, you pay this percentage of tax. If we have this income, you pay this percentage of tax. If we have less than this income, you don't have to pay tax. Right? So there are corporate taxes, income taxes, sales taxes, and countries take all that money, revenues, and they distribute that revenues and put that in different programs to help people. Isn't that right? Some older people get that. Some people have to pay for something, some people don't have to pay for things who cannot afford. So government does that, the state does that. So that is a part of economic and social justice. So that is how tax is structured, and tax has been used to provide economic and social justice by a state, by a government, by a country. And that is what the law and economics, basics of law and economics. There are lots of other things. Just I wanted to bring you that. You understood the system, that how the goal of law is always to achieve or realize justice. Politics, what happens in politics? Yes, it's a good governance, the system of governance. What do we study in politics? How do we develop a kind of system that will govern people in such a way that people will have their say in that governance and they are governing themselves. Isn't that right? In other words, democratic system. So when the basics of politics is that governance. But what happens in practice? All the political parties and politicians, when they get into politics, they forget everything and they just want to achieve the power. And they want to maintain that power. And people who are in ruling class are the political power, in different, they get elected, they want to continue their power every time. And they define the necessity of society and country according to the interest of their regime, not the society. Is that right? Do you feel that way or you don't? Government may say that, hey, we have national security problem. Is that really national security problem or that regime security problem? that government security problem? We don't know. So at that time, the politics is getting out of track. Okay. Is that right? Then whose role is there? Lawyers, judges. You have to bring them into track by using law, invoking the law, and making them into a good line, or bringing them to a good track. Business people, corporations. Isn't that right? Everybody, that's why you are learning so right. The sociology of law, the basics of sociology of law. How a particular, in every society, what sociology teaches you. In every society, there is some sort of faith, some sort of belief system. We believe in something. When we believe in something, that we have some faith in that. And we start our behavior according to the belief. Isn't that right? What we believe, we start behaving that way. When we start behaving that way, that behavior is practiced for a while. When that practice gets established, it becomes customs. When the customs becomes established as a doctrine, then it becomes culture. When it becomes culture, then that culture will start continuing that particular habit of the society, and they come up with standards. We call it norms. When norms are translated into political process and that are passed by Congress, then that becomes law. That is what sociology of law does. Simple. Did you get my point? Done. Sociology of law. The law and economics have two kind of things, two places though. One is laws will facilitate all the businesses, the investors, the capital orientation of capital. You understand the orientation of capital. Laws will facilitate them. When all the businesses get good things, facilities, and they have all the law protects them, all the private businesses. Laws will protect and facilitate and protect all the private businesses. And when those private businesses and corporations are protected, they will innovate good things, they will produce good things, and they will get that to the consumers, and all the people become consumers, and you consume all the goods, there will be competition, and the things, the development, and the economic growth, and all the things, the flourishment will trickle down from up to bottom. That's one way of looking at it. So the law is made to facilitate and protect the businesses. That is one approach. There's another approach in law and economics. Another approach is, this whole society is generally based on class system. There are rich people and poor people. Who are rich, they control the power. When they control the power, they rule the rest of the people, poor people. And when they will continue ruling those things, and that cycle is continued, and every time that one particular class keeps ruling the rest of the people. So laws will break that vicious cycle of that rich and poor. And then law should bring all of those people in equal footing, and the society can improve. That's another way of looking at law and economics. So there are two approaches to law and economics. Did you get my point? So these two approaches are known as, the first approach is capitalism, and the second approach is socialism. Okay, that is a very simple way. That's what it is.